This is a production of the AJ Podcast Network.
Pushing and pulling, I want you, but you wanna leave. I hate you, I love you, you love me, yeah, you gotta be free. If I'm your cage, leave. But if you stay with me, eventually we'll find happy.
Here we go again with another episode of the Passage Home Podcast starring the Dr. Stanley Russian, and I'm your co-host, Back Civilian. Now go ahead and please visit our website at www.linktree.com/passagehome. Podcast.com. Again, that's www.linktree.com/passagehomepodcast.com, where you can find all of our links, where you can listen to our show. And don't forget to ask Alexa to play the Passage Home Podcast for you on iHeartRadio. And no, don't forget about my other podcast starring my boy AJ and myself and our newest co-host, Anne-Marie, on I Can Relate to That, where we talk about a lot of things that we all can relate to. And go ahead and look us up on www.linktree.com/AJ and Backs. And you can even ask Alexa to play the I Can Relate to That podcast for you as well. Now, if you're interested in getting a hold of us, interested in sponsorship, go ahead and reach us at passagehomepodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's passagehomepodcast@gmail.com. And without no further ado, Dr. Stanley Russian, how you doing today, sir?
Amazing. By God's grace, I am doing amazing. Today, I always say that I am humble, but you got to realize I am humble by the presence of the people that I've been blessed to meet and associate to that can relate to the message that the Back to Home podcast puts out there. And that is that Africa is amazing, that Africa is our home, that Africa is calling us home, and that you, the average African American, fit into that diaspora with just for what you've learned so far and thrive. And the guests that I have on the show are people that are either doing that right now or have done it, or can give you directions to do it. So today, I have a brother, an amazing brother, who's a world traveler. He calls his home right now Brazil, but he's been all over the African diaspora for years, and so we this brother blessed us by being here at this time, and I was able to snag him, to be able to speak on the show today.
Wow.
So without further ado, I want to introduce Brother Dejaun Williams. Dejaun, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Brother Stan, for that generous introduction.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're in, and I have to be careful because I can't get people to talk because, the people that I bring on here are so blessed, and they also know that the things that they've done don't come from them. It's just coming through them, through their spirit. So I had to coax them to even talk about themselves and stuff. Some people I can't stop talking about themselves, but the really, really blessed people, they know it's not them, and that's why they get more of it, because they give thanks to the Most High for how the Most High is using them, and that's all it is. I'll always remember the saying that Quincy Jones said. He said, "It don't come from me, it's just coming through me. It ain't me." And so, giving honor and thanks to the Most High, I would like for you to share some of the things that I've noticed that have come through you, that you can share with the brothers and sisters out there. that they can that's available to them. First, I want to start off with your bio.
Okay, bio as in from the beginning, or
in the beginning. No, well, give us we got 30 minutes.
All right. So basically, just real quick about me as a person. I was born in Dallas, Texas. I grew up in Germany, and I was an Army brat. So spent a lot of time on military bases in Germany and France, and then came back to the States at the age of 11. Lived in Kansas, the center of the United States. Went to high school there, and then we moved again to California, finished high school, went to college, and after college, after my master's, I moved to Berkeley, California. Went to work for a radio station. And from there, I segued into going into different businesses. I then decided that I wanted to work for myself. And basically, I was working for a radio station, and I was the general sales manager. I got fired by the owner's son, who thought I was hitting on his girlfriend. So my ego was a little bruised because I was good. I was good at sales. I was good at what I did. And so, I just kind of licked my wounds. And then I decided that I was good and I would take that talent and do it for myself. And I made a promise not to work for nobody else again. And so I set out to work for myself. And what I started doing was I started importing cars, Mercedes, BMWs, Porsches from Germany. And so every 3 months I go to Frankfurt, Germany, buy cars and fix them up. Because at that time, the dollar was real strong and you could get like four Dutch marks to the dollar. And so just to give you an analogy, if a Mercedes costs $30,000 in the United States, I could buy it for $9,000 in Germany. And then put it on a boat, which is $800 to ship it and pay duty, which is what I say I paid for it, maybe a couple hundred, and then just flip it. And so I would buy, 4 or 5 cars at a time, come back, flip them, and I sell them in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta. And then I became, well known for doing that. And I had many, many customers. And I did that for 9 years, traveling all over. And then I just kind of segued from buying cars to including accessories, car accessories, radios, fur, and go to Holland and buy products there, and go to Italy and bring back Louis Vuitton from Italy, and just come back. So it was basically buying, selling. I did that for 9 years. And then that business kind of faded out, and I started going to China and buying products from China, coming back, selling them. I was into solar energy. And so I was into solar energy way before people knew what was happening about solar energy. And I would buy products from Mexico and China. And I sell it in the Caribbean. Things like solar flashlights, solar lanterns, and just because, electricity was very bad in the Caribbean. So they needed solar products. Then while I was still in the solar, I started looking at Africa. I got internet was fresh. I got on the internet and I found a young man in Accra, Ghana, who was doing solar energy. And so we started communicating and decided to, hey, let's just do a joint venture and pull our resources. I had most of the products, the good products, were coming from the United States. So, and then he had the contacts in Ghana. We formed a company. I just jumped on the plane, and he made introductions to the Minister of Energy, Ministry of Finance, and just start making proposals and doing some business. So Africa, during that time, I was also introduced to, there was a group of African Americans living there. And these are African Americans that went to college with Nkrumah. And when Nkrumah went back to Ghana, he brought these African American brothers that he went to college with over with him to help him build the country up. So I was introduced to a group of African Americans who were successful businessmen and women, in Ghana.
What year?
And Ghana, man, I love Ghana. Ghana was like, it was, the people, number one, very educated, spoke English, very warm. The Canadians adore Americans. I mean, I was treated like a king.
What year?
This was 95.
Wow.
1995. And it was one of the most fantastic experiences I've ever had. I mean, I had traveled all over Europe and Jamaica, the Caribbean, Mexico. But when I went to Africa, it was like I came home, it was home. And they make you feel at home. And in terms of opportunities, the opportunities are unlimited. And that's one of the things that Africa has been waiting for African Americans to come back home and help them.
Right.
And in Ghana, there's a ceremony every month. At the end of the month, the elders would go up in the mountains and they have this ceremony and they pray and they ask forgiveness for the sins of their fathers, meaning they want to be forgiven for their forefathers placing us into servitude. And that's how much they adore African Americans. And they really wanted African Americans to come back home and help them develop. And, there's just a lot of opportunities there.
Well, let's not get ahead, because that's my final question. So with your bio, can you mention some of your present business that you're doing right now?
Yeah, what I do right now is, of course, you mentioned I live in Brazil, and I'm in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. Pretty much, I have a product. It's a male sexual enhancement product.
Right.
And so that's one of my main products that I distribute right now.
Right.
And it's made from herbs. Go ahead.
Comes in handy in Brazil.
I'm sorry?
I said comes in handy in Brazil.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it all natural? Is it all natural? Is it herbs, or does it have like a little bit of caffeine in? How does that work?
Yeah, it's natural herbs, and pretty much it's a combination of, it's not a panacea, but if a person has a good diet and exercises and then use these herbs, it will improve your sexual experience tremendously.
That's awesome.
And by the way, when I was in Ghana, we were on a tour of a jungle, if you will, but maybe I should say a park, more or less a park jungle. And our guide took us to a tree, and he took his machete out, and he cut the bark off of the tree, and he showed us the bark, and he said, "This is what our women give us when they want us to be strong in bed." And it was Uhembe.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, was it red?
It's Uhembe. No, well, it was brown.
It looks brown. I used to make Uhembe tinctures back in the 70s.
Yeah, well, these are just natural herbs that surround that the women would would take the hemby bark and make a tea and serve it for dinner, you know?
Absolutely.
And then they know that they're going to have a good time that night.
An amazing time.
Just to segue, I was in Manaus in the Amazon. My guy was taking me around, and he was Indian. He was indigenous Indian, and he grew up in the Amazon. And he would take me to plants and just pick them and show me and say, this is what my mother would tell us to go get, you know, if we had a stomach ache. And this plant here we would use if we had another type of problem. So, you know, the usage of natural herbs has been around forever. And we are the ones that forgot about that, you know, because, you know, we got the pharmaceutical industry is so big that they inundate you with their drugs.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Second question to you, and you covered a little bit of it. Can you, for the audience out there, since you've been in radio, can you express to them what you felt when you first spiritually felt when you first went to Africa, to Ghana? I don't know if that was the first place you went, because I know you've been all over. But that's a good question, because spiritually, the emotions were so great and so vast and so different. For example, when I first arrived in Africa, my emotion spiritually was fear. Fear because I'd never seen so many Black people. You know, I'm talking everywhere you don't see, it's just all Black people. You know, and I'd never been in that situation. It was awesome. You can't even imagine it. Yes. And then after, you know, a few days, then the spirituality of the knowing of love and togetherness and appreciation, you know, it was that type of spirituality of saying to yourself. And I can remember when I was in college, and you know, we used to say, my girlfriend and I, we had said that, hey, I was born in Dallas, Texas. She was born in Memphis, Tennessee. And we had said, you know, let's go to Atlanta and, you know, let's go to the South where people are real, you know, as opposed to, you know, in California where, yeah, it is what it is. Right. But I felt that spirituality, that where people were real in Africa. And then when I went to the slave castles, where you actually see where the slaves were held in bondage before they got on the boat to go to wherever, I felt anger. I felt so much anger. And then there were some white people there, some Germans. Ooh, I was mad. I mean, to see the conditions and just imagine our people being chained up in these dungeons, man, and just and then they got the cave. It's kind of like a cave, like when they imagining them going through the cave, and that's the last thing that they see of their motherland, and that was heavy. Yeah. So and then later on in other experiences, we went to Kumasi, and during that time, I was fortunate because it was the coronation of the Kumasi king, and I met Danny Glover there, and there were many other people there, and so this was a big coronation celebration to the Kumasi king, and you had tribes from all of the hundreds of different tribes and their leaders, and they would be in their gold and their feathers and their tribal outfits,
And it was a spiritual heaven, to see this and see our culture. I'm not talking about, people in a suit and tie, but I'm talking people dressed in our traditional clothing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was just, it was wonderful. And then on another side, to see the opportunity of business there and to engage in that. So the spirituality was like a roller coaster. It was on many different levels.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. I can feel that. You fall right in line with the other guests that I've had, with that same spirit that you're feeling is what they felt. And I can't wait to get enough brothers and sisters over there so that they can experience it also. Final question is, out of everything you see and where you've been, why don't you give a message to the average person who's listening to this podcast as to how they can transition into Africa coming from you as an entrepreneur, not to go and find a job, but to go over there and be able to thrive by adding what they have from here to that fabric that's there. Right.
Well, first of all, we good question. First of all, we got to get into the mindset of, we as Africans were the original traders. We are the original man, okay? And we were the original traders. We went all over the world trading our goods. So that's where we come from,
That's in our blood. That's in our DNA.
Yeah, it's in our DNA. And so we have to get into the mindset of when you get off the plane or when you get off the boat and you go into the city, you're looking around saying, where is my corner going to be? Where am I going to put my shop? Or what type of business am I going to get involved in? And not where can I pass my resume out and get a job? So first of all, you got to have a different mindset of going in and doing business in a sense of contributing, because, it's important to do something that you like to do. And don't do it for money. Don't do it for money. Do it because you like it, and be of service to people. And if you serve people, then they will pay you. Okay, and that's the bottom line. If you have a service that people want and need, and you provide that, they will pay you. And so, with that mindset, go there. There's lots of opportunities, and do your homework before you go. Try to partner up like what I did. Get on the internet and partner up with some people, and so that when you arrive, you can hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm. So I took some notes as I was listening. Bax, do you have any questions?
Since you was talking about business, like, me, I'm humble and I listen. But when we were talking about business, he was talking about going to Frankfurt, Germany for 9-5 and getting the business. I was like, hold up, I got 9-5. I could do that too. Let's go to Germany. I got a couple of brothers we could get together and make it happen. Like that's one of the things that ran through my mind. But just the fact that he is, he's just so exciting and experienced. Like,
yeah, but all that goes with the flow, because the note that I have here is that when I was traveling through Europe, and I went to Belgium, and I never been there before, and the brother I was going with grew up there. Well, when he grew up there, he knew it like the back of his hand. But he has adult ADD. And so the day I was at the airport waiting on him, he missed his flight. He didn't show up. So, me being the adventurer, I said, I'm not missing this. And so I jumped on the plane. He came about 2 weeks later. By the time he got there, I had been to 4 countries. I've been to France. I've been to Luxembourg. I've been to Germany. I went with a guy with Devon rung a bell because I remember going to pick up a BMW in Germany and coming back down the Autobahn at 120 miles an hour.
Really?
And yeah. And so this was like 20 years ago. And so I got paid for that, you know. And so I have been all over, but you know, you can go there and just fit in and start making money. You know, a lot of the blacks in Belgium are from the Congo, and so they sort of like give them reparations because I don't ever see any of them working anywhere, and you would never see an African supervising white people there. You'll see them in service industries and things like that. But everyone that you see, if you drive past one in an area called I might mess this up, but it's called Port de la Mer, where that's like the Congo Square of Belgium, and it's about 100,000 of them there. And when you see them, if it's a Wednesday, and you pass by at 20 miles an hour, you can see that he has on a 600 euro pair of shoes and designer, because they don't have knockoffs there. They got the real factories, you know, the Gucci, all those things. And they do the same thing that Devon was saying. They're shipping to the Congo. They're shipping all over the world because they're right there in the heart of where everything is made at. And so, I mean, and they're surviving big time. They're shipping out containers of things to people that are looking for it. And
that's awesome.
The technology 20 years ago in Europe was so far advanced past what we're trying to do now. You know, because I landed in London, I got on the channel, and I went under a sea in a train traveling 100 miles an hour under the sea, and came up just like a stop in New York in the middle of Belgium.
Well, you guys, listen, I'll tell you what. You brothers have so much experience. I feel like that song Caged. I feel like I really am caged. I got to break out of this cage. I never left the United States.
You know, it's one thing I wanted to say, and I say this with all sincerity, man, it's a big world out there. It is a big world, and it's so much fun for a businessman or businesswoman, business person, to travel around the world, make money, and enjoy life, enjoy these different cultures while you're making money. Right. You know, man, don't get locked up in this stuff here. And, you know, if you're into music, man, in Nigeria, the music is kicking off. The music is kicking off so cold-blooded. Beyonce and her father have invested in music companies in Nigeria. Okay, I mean, we have to take these lenses off and put some telescopes on. You know, it's there's a lot of opportunities out there, man.
Yes. It's amazing.
I'm gonna be going back over this podcast and writing down some stuff and just taking these as I'm taking notes right now as I'm talking. I just feel full. This is a blessing.
Yeah. And you know, the first word I learned in college was the word ethnocentric. Mm-hmm. And because of the ethnocentricity of the United States and America, we don't really see that there are worlds out there way beyond the one that we exist in and stuff. But reason why I mentioned that train, we are under the sea traveling at 100 miles an hour, and they had cell service 20 years ago. That puts it in perspective. And there are a lot of other things that I could talk about this little chip that you have on your credit cards now. They had that 20 years ago.
Right.
On all their bank cards and stuff. So we're just catching up.
Yeah, in terms of opportunities with our Black brothers, I used to take when cellular phones first came in. I used to go to AT&T and buy 50, 100 telephones and get on a plane, take them to Jamaica and sell them, and then hang out, party, and then come back. I say that because I just happened to be talking to a girl from Jamaica the other day, and she was saying how the hottest product, one of the hottest products there now, are sex toys for women. And she was saying, if you can buy a container of sex toys, ship them there, and you flip them real quick, and then just party, have fun. It's there's a lot of products available. What you do is you find out what people want and what they need. And then you give people what they want and what they need. You serve.
How can we find your product? How can the people find your product?
We're gonna drop links in the description for this show for everything that he's dealing with. And right now, Hidden a Heartbreak, AJ is dropping the music for our closeout. I want to thank you, brother. I was humbled when I opened this podcast. I'm even humbler on the closeout. Devon, please come back and share with us when you go back to Brazil. We want to hit you up again to try to get some more wisdom from you on travel as you sit on the ocean front from your condo, enjoying yourself.
Absolutely. I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, definitely an honor.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Here we go.
All right. Be well.
Show.
Peace out.
That was an excellent show, ladies and gentlemen. Passage Home Podcast. Thank you for Dejaun. You have a great night.
You
Dr.
too.
Stanley.
What's stopping the trust? I've been bright all my life. I could see that we rush. Same thing happened to them. It's happened to us. We argue all night, then you backing it up. That's the story of our life. First we fight, then we fuck. You don't need me.
This is a production of the AJ Podcast Network.